My mental illness does not define me as a person, and I'm finally learning that. So, for so long, a lot of symptoms of my mental illness and my past traumas, um, I had mistaken for like personality traits, like my trauma responses, and I just accepted them as parts of me, even though I can honestly say I've always tried to better myself or be a better person. I didn't know, haven't always just like succeeded linearly, like I've made bad decisions and I've disappointed people or I've been hurtful. But I do try to grow from those times. And there are many times where I felt stuck, like dissociation. Like I dissociated a lot. I used to, and it feels so weird now that I'm on medicine that I feel is a good fit for me. Like I'm on an SSRI, but this time around is also paired with an anxiety medicine, and I've I dissociate a lot less and less. Like I just thought that was just a part of my life, and that's something that I was just gonna have to live with until the day I died. And to feel it stripping away is
At first, it was scary. It's a scary feeling. Um, and a lot of suppressed emotions were coming out, and a lot of that was like fear, just a lot of fear and panic attacks, and just being scared that that was my new reality. Um, but now I'm able to think more clearly. I'm able to be more present. I'm able to believe the world is not such a negative place. Like, I was just worried that I was just focused on like all the pain and suffering that was going on in the world, that it just seemed like an amount that it was just difficult to overcome, like the good versus evil type thing. Um, but I'm just able to, like, right now I'm looking out the window in my room and seeing like the beautiful colors of the sky and the trees, and just being able to enjoy that more for longer periods of time. Like before, I could enjoy that going on a walk, but like it'd be for like short snippets before I'd be right back in my head, like obsessively just over analyzing and like ruminating. And I thought like, oh no, people say that's like a positive attribute that I have, that I'm very analytical, or that I really think things through. But um it was just to the point that it took away from my peace, and learning how to live with that giant like tightness in my chest. It's a new feeling. Having my family, a little family with Drew, Josie, and Pixie and Bino, like learning to enjoy that and not fearing that it's gonna collapse at any second, or it's gonna be taken away from me once um, I get too comfortable, I suppose. Um, it's a good feeling. A big thing that's helping me with this is like really listening and learning like what I want and believe in versus like what I felt forced to in order to feel safe. Like something as small as like shaving my head. Like I just felt, I think I talked about this in a different video, as I went shorter and shorter, like it was just negativity leaving, I guess. And then when I got all the way short, like I just felt a huge release. Another thing is, as time has gone by, like I would feel like I would get better, and then I'd be like, oh my gosh, I'm so good now. And then like 6 months would pass, and then I would look back at myself and be like, oh my gosh, I can't believe I thought I was good then. Like I had so much more growth to do, and that continues to happen and happen and happen. But a reason why I shaved my head was like that I can have like a visual cue with my growth. Like rather than like waiting like larger time spans to like credit myself for the work that I'm doing, excuse me, my interpersonal growth, I could have something to benchmark it. So like what I said, the 6 months would pass and I wouldn't realize in between of the growth, because it's like day by day it wasn't like a noticeable change. Just shaving my head and like seeing my hair grow, I'm gonna notice that. Which, I mean, maybe that's not the best example because hair grows only half an inch a month. But I don't know, it made sense in my mind. Like as my hair is growing, I'm growing as a person, I'm being reborn, and yeah, everything that I read is just like there's no being the old you or who you could have been if the trauma didn't happen. It's learning to heal from that and accepting who you've become and changed to. And um, something that I struggled with a lot is just feeling like thinking back on my life and thinking like, if this would have happened, or if I would have made this decision, or like the people around me made this decision, just like trying to find ways where all that could have been avoided onto me. And like something that like was just a thought in the back of my mind that I've never like acknowledged until right this moment. So it's weird that I'm gonna verbalize it out loud. It's just like, I understand trauma happens to people, but I wish I could have just avoided it all. And something I struggle with that is just like, am I saying that I don't deserve trauma, but that it's fine for other people to have experienced it? Like, I don't feel that, but it's more of like, is trying to think of ways where I could have completely avoided it. Like, I hope that makes sense, but then I haven't read the book, but I think there's a book called It Didn't Start With You, and just realizing, you know, my parents experienced stuff, their parents, and then I just get kind of lost in this trap of like, there's just so much suffering in general, but before I had the right medicine that I do now, that would engulf me. Like, it would just consume me, and that's when I would get into like, is anything ever gonna get better for the world? The world's such a scary, dark place. But now that I feel myself not dissociating as much and feel like my mental illness is being treated, and it's something that I'm going to have to manage, you know, the rest of my life. Like I've already tested like being on medicine, not being on medicine, and for me it's just something I have to be on for the rest of my life, and I accepted that. Especially, you know, with Josie and Drew, like they deserve me at my best, so it's no more like testing like I maybe might be able, you know, to do without. Um, and with that, I just found myself being more goal oriented and a little bit more reality based. Like I still have like my grandiose ideas of like, and I don't want to get rid of that because that's what pushes me to want more and want better for myself. But the problem I had before was I would stay stuck in daydreaming land and not, like, I would have ideas, but like getting myself to do them all, like it just felt scary to be in the moment. But now that I'm not feeling that way, at least not as
much, like my anxiety is getting managed more. I can pair my daydreamy run off with the fairy. Someone said they like that I say that, but ideas with like the practical side of like me wanting a plan and executing the plan and believing in myself a little bit more. I mentioned this during the live stream. A big goal of mine is to become a sex therapist. I want to help people have healthy sex lives, both if they've experienced sexual trauma in the past or also if they were like raised in a way where shame was like really paired with the thought of sexuality. So I'm really excited to work on that. And it's all a program that I really like. It's a 3-year program. But now it's like saving up and, you know, taking care of the family and also pursuing my dreams. So circling back of like learning who I am as like I'm a person with a mental illness, but again, my mental illness does not define me.